Hello, mic testing. Hello.
Good evening, hackers. I, Pooja, and my co host Prakhar would like to welcome you all to the second day of the event, Hack in the North 5.0. We hope you're having a good time so far.
Before we proceed, I am pleased to announce that BitGrit has joined us as a data science partner. It is a job and data science AI competition platform. It has a global community of more than 25,000 engineers. It is being developed to be a comprehensive online ecosystem centered around a blockchain powered AI marketplace. It is definitely worth a look.
Our community partner, BlueLearn, is one of India's largest student communities with over 65,000 members and provides a one stop platform for students to learn new skills and network with peers. Check them out at bluelearn.in.
Let's get started with today's speaker session. We are delighted to have Mr. Santosh Yadav with us today. He's currently a front-end developer at avodaq AG, a GitHub superstar, an author ambassador, and an Angular Google developer expert. He also works as a software consultant and is a co-founder of This Is Learning. Sir, we are delighted to have you with us.
Thank you. Okay, should we start?
Yes, sir, sure, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Let me share my screen and is it okay? Is it visible now?
Yes, sir, it's
Okay.
visible.
Okay. Hey everyone. First of all, thanks a lot for having me, and thanks for the invite. So I have been involved in open source from not many years. I would say just I started contributing in 2019. And this talk will actually contain two stories how actually open source changed the life of some developers. And of course, you can take some inspiration out of it, or you can take some positive points, whatever you like, and just share your experience after this, right? So before I move ahead, let me just introduce myself. I'm Santosh Yadav. I'm currently in Hamburg, Germany, and as already informed, I'm a GD for Angular, GitHub Star, Auth0 Ambassador, and we have a, a community called This Is Learning, which I'm co-founder. And in case any one of you is interested to join us, I mean, feel free to send me a message on Twitter or LinkedIn, and we can connect. I mean, so as a part of this is learning community, we do a lot of stuff. We do live streams, we do tech talks, we do write a blog post. Of course, there are many experts who have joined our publication, and they write for our publication, and you can also do the same. Of course, support will be provided in case you're interested to write something. We can review your work, and then you can publish it. So this is about me and what I do. So let's go ahead and get started with the talk. Sorry, wrong slides. Mhm. Just a second.
So you stopped the stream, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, I shared the wrong slides. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. I found the correct one. Sorry. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is what I believe in. So I'm sure you are already part of some communities. This is why we are here. I mean, and there are a lot of communities which exist, right? So this is what I believe, that if you give 10% towards the community, you always get 10x, I mean more than 10x in return. And let's go ahead and get started with the stories. As I said, there will be two stories which I'll be talking about, and we will learn how open source help them, or how open source changed the life for them, and then of course it's up to you. So let's start with the first story. And so it's about a developer who started working, and he worked in a startup for more than 5 years, and he was enjoying his work, of course. The reason being, of course, his work was being appreciated. He used to get a lot of, a good raise every year, considering, of course, the salary was, of course, not what we get right now. So it was, of course, as compared to, it was back in 2012, and he was enjoying his work, and he was getting good raise. So he was like, okay, I'm like one of the best developers out there, and I can do whatever I want to. And I think if even if I look for a job, I will of course get a better job. But I think this is what he was thinking, that okay, he is really successful, but that was not the reality. After 5 years, he decided, okay, now it's time to move on and do something else and start looking for a new job. As I said, so he used to think that okay, he knows everything. He's really a good developer. He's a great developer, but that was not the reality. So he started getting rejected from a lot of interviews. He was really disappointed, and he started thinking, "What's wrong?" I mean, of course, I have been doing a great job at my work. It means I know things. I know my stuff, but why it is happening right now? Why I'm not able to crack the interview? So he realized that for 5 years, he was actually just working for his organization. And this is what I always tell everyone, that never work for your organization, work for yourself as well. If you think that you are not learning something new next year, I think it's time to change the job. That's what I always believed in. And he was doing the same, right? So he was working for 5 years for organization, but never tried to improve his own knowledge. He never invested like in improving his own skills. So like, okay, this is the job, this is what I'm doing, and my knowledge is limited, and this is what I need to do. So this is also a very important point. Whenever you start working at some organization, keep some time for yourself as well to improve your skills, right? So whenever you join some organization, or in case some of you might be already working somewhere, or probably doing some internship, remember, I mean, it's not possible that you will have something to do for 8 hours 5 days a week, right? 40 hours. It's always not possible. So you will have some free time. So a lot of developers waste their time. What they do is, of course, they will go for tea, they will go for coffee, long breaks. Of course, do that, but don't overdo that. I mean, of course, there are some times where you will think that okay, I don't feel like coding now, but there will be time where you don't have anything to do. I think it's better to actually learn something new. Use that time. And most important point, he never got involved with the community. He was not aware of the community, so it was like okay, he was really disappointed, but he moved. I mean, of course, life moves on, right? So after a lot of effort, he finally found a job and he moved on. Let's talk about story 2. This developer actually started his own startup, and he was not from a tech background. So he's, of course, in early 2010, I mean, after we recovered from uh, the biggest crash which happened, right, in market. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it, but in 2008 9, I mean, so entire it crashed. A lot of developers lost their job. So after 2010, it started recovering, and it was again, the it was in it was one of the, I would say, best paying sectors out there. So this guy started his own startup. He said let's try to see what's going on, and probably I can make some business out of it. So he started a startup, hired some developers, and uh, the startup was going on, but not that great. So the thing is, he gave 3 years to that startup, and even he learned to code during that 3 years, because he was not from a tech background. So he said, okay, now those developers are working, but how should I be sure that whatever they are doing is correct? So he picked up technology and started working on it. Of course, it was JavaScript which he chose, and he was doing it, but the startup was not that successful. He was struggling for money. So Another thing was he lived in Ukraine. Right now, of course, a lot of things are going in Ukraine. It is under war, and this person I'm talking about he is still in Ukraine. He's helping a lot of people in Ukraine. And in case someone wants to support him, I'll share his Twitter handle at the end, and you can probably help him as well. So after 3 years, he decided to close his startup, and he said, "Now let's look for some job." But in Ukraine, at that point, of course, the salary was not that good. Still, I mean, people are struggling there. But back in, I'm talking about 2013 to 2014, and it was not a good paying job. So he was really disappointed that, okay, after giving 3 years, then working as a developer, my career is not going anywhere. And then he decided to quit. So he said, it's enough now. Let's choose something else where I can make some money. I can bring food to my family. And but a strange thing happened. So around the same time, 2015, there was a new framework which got released, which is known as Angular. Now, it's one of the uh, one of the biggest framework which exists, and it is maintained by Google and the community. And it got released. So he thought, like, why not to give a last chance to the career? And he started exploring Angular. So he actually did started answering the questions on Stack Overflow. So he said, okay, let's get involved in the community. I have given 3 years for my startup. I've worked as a developer for a few years, and now let's give a chance and let's contribute to the community. So he started answering those questions because the Angular was new framework. There were a lot of questions on Stack Overflow, and he started answering those questions. But how was that possible? Because the framework was itself new. So he started reading code. So he used to sit daily, and he used to read all the code in Angular. He used to understand how it works, and then he used to answer those questions. After few like answering many more questions, he realized that why not to convert those answers into a blog post, because he was already getting a lot of attention for his answers on Stack Overflow, and he was like one of the top contributors in Angular, on Stack Overflow. So he said, okay, now let's utilize this thing, right? So he started writing blog posts. So he started converting those answers into big blog posts. And now, rather than answering, he started attaching his blogs on every answer. But as everything starts from zero, and everyone starts from zero, this was the response on his first article. So you can see in 30 days, it was just 114 views. But this time he was like, no, I don't want to give up. I want to make a successful career out of it, and I'll do whatever it takes. So what he did is he started his own publication. On that time, the Medium was the biggest platform, and it was a new and shiny, and everyone was writing on Medium. So he started like a new publication for Angular on Medium, and there was no publication which existed at that period at that time. And he asked other developers, other experts in Angular, to join and write for his publication. So of course, he made good connection on Stack Overflow while answering those questions, and everyone joined. Everyone joined his publication, and this was the response within a year. So you can see more than 250K views within a year. First article, you can see from Jan to March. If you see the bar, it's it's not even in thousands. And after that, it really grew. So within a year, more than 250K views. And then he became a GDE for Angular, and he also became MVP. Now, everything which he did, all the effort he put in the community started paying off. He got recognized as GDE and MVP. Back in 2018, he also got invited to one of the biggest Angular conference, which happens in US every year, which is called NGConf, and he was a speaker at that particular conference. But what about money, right? I mean, of course, he thought of living the IT job because of money, not because he's not good, right? So he started. He actually got approached by the AG Grid, which is like one of the biggest company when it comes to data grid, and the CEO of that particular company approached him and said, why don't you work for us?" And he started working for AG Grid. So let me tell you more about this particular person. So he's founder of Angular in Depth, which was the publication he started, and now it's called in depth.dev. He's like into 0.17% on Stack Overflow still, because he has like so many answers, amazing answers. He works as a principal engineer at Kava Analytics right now. Of course, everyone is struggling in Ukraine due to the war, and he has like for his own blogs, right? So he has more than, I think now it's more than 2 million, more than 2 million views on indep.dev. And he was also winner of Ukrainian IT Awards in IT education in 2019. His name is Max Koretsky, and you can find him on Twitter as well with the same name. And this is his story. So this is how he started with nothing, no technical background, and ended up as one of the best developers who is available for Angular. But what about the other developer, right? So what happened to him? So let's go ahead and talk about the other developer. So finally, after like leaving his job in back in 2015, in 2019 he decided now it's enough. Now he has to improve his knowledge, and he started contributing back and started contributing to open source in 2019. Within few months, he was one of the top 100. He was in top 100 contributors for Angular, and even top 10 contributors for NGRX, which is another big library which exists in Angular. He also joined indep.dev as writer, and he published more than 8 blogs in his first year, which had like more than 250K views in a year. So within not even a year, like it was 8 to 9 months. So he even spoke at first ever Angular conference, which happened in Sri Lanka in back in 2019. And then he became a Google developer expert for Angular and GitHub star. And uh, after a few months, he started creating and managing his own open source projects, got a remote job, all just because he was doing something for community, and everything paid off. But what about job search this time, right? So of course he got a remote job, but what about job? So this time the networking and community helped. So he had not to actually give a lot of interviews because he was already known for his work in the community. So he got approached for work. So he was like, okay, do you want to work for us? And this is how he got the job. So let's see what we have learned so far, right? So but what they did, so they both started working for community rather than themselves. So if you see the story of developer one, who started like, okay, he was working for his organization, but he was not working towards or never got involved in the community. So both at some point of time realized that, okay, whatever approach they are taking, probably that's not the right approach. Let's get involved into the community and see how it helps. Then while actually helping the community, they realize that they are improving their own skill, because once you start writing blog post, of course you do research, right? It's not like you something comes into your mind and then you start writing blog post. It's never like that. You take some hours to research and then write blog post, which actually improves your own knowledge, right? So that's, and helping the community actually made them stand out from the crowd. So if you see, both got approached this time for the job. So about Max, he got approached by HE Grade. About this developer too, he also got approached for working, and that's how it worked, right? So they stood out from the crowd, and now, but let's try to understand how to get involved with the community, right? So that's the biggest answer. So there are many ways. Of course, you can go ahead and start answering on Stack Overflow. So let's say you start learning something, some technology, some framework, and then you find there are a lot of questions which exist, of course, on Stack Overflow. Not the best platform, because I don't like Stack Overflow. I never uh, answered anything on Stack Overflow because of the toxic people who exist on Stack Overflow. But yes, I mean, if you want some visibility in the community, of course, Stack Overflow is one of the best option out there. They started writing blog posts, of course, which helped. So start writing blog posts, and this is what I believe, that don't write for others. So whenever you write blog posts, think that, okay, you are documenting something for yourself, and you will be surprised how much those blogs will help you as well in future. Because there have been multiple instances where I was looking for some answer, and I found my own blog, and that was the answer. So it happens. So don't think that, okay, this topic has already been written. just don't copy paste. I mean, a lot of developers do that, but if you are copy pasting something, or if you are taking some inspiration, I think give a shout out. So give a shout out that, okay, I got some inspiration from this blog, but try to write something from your own point of view. Let's say, if I go to if you start learning Go, of course there will be many topics which has been already written, but try to write how you understood this, right? And that's something which you should do. Of course, open source, a lot of developers, a lot of new students, they want to get involved in open source, but it's okay. I mean, take your time. It's not a competition. Try to learn some technology, try to learn some framework, and then get involved in the open source. Don't rush. You can actually, there are of course a lot of projects which exist on GitHub, and you can choose anyone. And as I said, don't rush, because if you see the story of both developers, they gave some time, right? They started contributing to open source very late, but it's not like they lost something, right? So they achieved all the success after even contributing to open source for like after working for 5 years, 10 years in the tech, and it paid off. So it's never a competition. Don't take it as a competition. Something which you can do voluntarily, do something to learn something new, but never take it as competition. You can start, of course, some meetups and some communities. That's why we are here, right? So someone started this community and decided that we will come together, we will learn something new, we will uh, teach something new, and that's how it happens. So this is how communities are built. Get involved into GDGs, DSC, Microsoft Student Partner Programs, GitHub's student program. There are many programs which exist for students. Use those, because remember, the advantage of getting involved in this program is you get a lot of things to learn for free. You get access to a lot of tools which you probably can never buy, right? So those are things which you get out of these programs, and you get also the uh, experience of getting involved in the community, helping the community, or helping the community grow. So do this. I mean, in case you are not a part of any of these programs, try to see if you can apply, or try to see if you can become part of one. Start creating contents on YouTube, or start writing blog posts. In case you are really good at creating videos, I think you can go ahead and do that. And let's see the summary. So start working with the community, get involved as early as possible. Even if you don't think that I have lost something, so remember, the best time is today, and it's okay. It's doesn't matter that you did nothing in the community for past 2 years or past 1 year. I received this message, sir. I'm in second year or third year. I have never done anything. It's don't have this FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. That okay, you have lost something. No, you are still in college, and you still have like whatever years you have with you to go ahead and contribute. Once you start contributing to the community, getting involved in the community, I think on tech, sorry, on Twitter, the tech community is really great. I have seen people getting recognized for their work. So don't have a fear that I'm not doing anything. Start today. That's absolutely fine. If you need some time, take a month rest and then start. That's absolutely fine. But do get involved in the community. Write blog post, as I said, write it for yourself. Don't write it thinking that okay, I want to teach something. Try it for your own, and I think that will be the best way you can help others as well. Create online contents, videos, blogs, and reach, because that has wide reach to the audience, right? Again, make impactful contents, right? It should not be like okay, this content has already been done hundred of times. Try to explain it in your own way. So there are a lot of developers who do this. So they create, let's say they write some blog, and then they create the same blog to videos, and then they convert the same blog in terms of a talk. Like you can present that talk in one of the meetups or conferences, and it's okay to fail. So we saw in both the stories, right? Those developers actually failed to achieve something, but uh, the failure actually gave them an important lesson that okay, this is something which they cannot continue doing, and they have to get involved in the community in case they want more success. So okay, so what about the developer one? I mean, of course we know the developer two, Max Korsky. I'm sure you might have figured it out, but I'm the second person who actually gave started contributing to open source in 2019. I worked in tech for more than 10 years before I started contributing, and it has paid off, right? So it's not like I have missed something. Of course, I received all the recognition after that as well. So this is it. And in case you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Twitter, or feel free to connect on LinkedIn. You can find all these links on my portfolio called santoshadav.dev. And yeah, looking forward to have, I mean, in case you have any questions, just ask, and looking forward to answer your questions.
Thank you so much, sir. The talk was really very insightful. I mean, hearing the stories, all of us have been. I mean, we are all inspired to start open source, right? So, like, we have some questions for you. Like, what
Mhm.
advice would you like to give to the newbies in open source? Like, someone who's just starting to contribute in open source.
Okay, so remember, so whenever you start contributing to open source, you have to have some knowledge about some particular technology or some particular framework, right? So in case you are already working as intern somewhere, I think you know some live projects where some libraries are being used. So try to get involved in those libraries, right? So that will be the basics, because you have already been using those libraries, you know how they work. And then see if they have some issues open, or they have some feature request open, or if you think some features are missing. But someone actually really new who has just started like learning some technology, give some time. It's not like from day one you have to go ahead and start contributing to open source. It's never like that, and it never happens in that way. So give some time, learn something, give 6 months, a year, and try to understand how those technology works, how that particular framework works, how that library works. And then keep and watch on all the activities which happens on the GitHub repository, right? Before I started contributing to GitHub, the Angular, I used to actually I'm sure everyone knows, on GitHub you can watch and repository, there is an option. So what I did is I started watching that repository to see how what kind of issues or bugs this particular project gets, and then I used to read them. Okay, can I do this? Can I do this? Of course, most of the time the answer is no, because you don't know the code base, and that's why you have to invest some time learning that, right? So I started doing that, and then at one point I realized, okay, this is something I can do, and then I picked it up. And don't be scared to contribute. I mean, the best way I have seen is start with documentation, and but make some impactful changes. Like, it's not like you changed a spelling mistake. Of course, those kind of contributions are very really welcome, uh, but try to have some like more meaningful changes, right? So in case, let's say there is a new feature which some library added, and you see, okay, this is something which is not documented properly, because nowadays documentation is the most important thing, right? So everyone who starts learning technology or framework or library, what you do, you don't go to YouTube, right? You don't go to YouTube and search, okay, how to do this. You go to documentation and try to read how to do this. So that's your way to that's how you can contribute. Okay, you saw that, okay, this feature is not documented properly, it is missing example, go ahead and fix that. Go ahead and add the documentation, add the fixes. If you like to write test cases, go ahead and write test cases. If you are not even a developer, go ahead and see how you can improve, probably how you can improve the framework, right? So you can add some impactful features, or if you can also, as an end user, you can test something. So there are many ways to contribute. Just don't think that open source is only about code, which a lot of us think. It's not only about the code. So there are many ways you can contribute.
Thank you, sir.
So, with GSOC around the corner, what tips would you like to give to the aspiring GSOCers?
Okay, so I've never contributed to GSOC before, because, of course, when I was when I was in college, GSOC probably never existed. Like, so it was back in 2008 when I completed my engineering. But now it is open for everyone. So I think there are many other developers who can give you more idea, who has been involved with GSOC. But I probably am not the best person to answer that question. there? Sorry. Hello.
Hello. I'm sorry, sir. We had a network issue from our side.
Okay, cool. No problem.
Yes. So, sir, what role do you think hackathons play in a student's life? I mean, we are a hackathon as
Uh,
well. So, what do you
mm,
think hackathons do?
I think
I mean,
it's a great way to actually learn something new. I have seen like a lot. I mean, I've never participated in a lot of hackathons personally, but I have just some hackathons, and it's the developers are doing some amazing stuff. Just do it because like you will learn something new, right? So you learn how to actually create a product in like less than 24 hours or 48 hours, or in some cases 3 days, right? So it gives you a lot of advantages that okay, you can like some people coming together and then working on something which can make some impact, thinking about it, using some technology, writing code. I think that's the best way you will be able to learn. I think they are really try to get involved in hackathons as well. I think you will learn more like how to collaborate, how to work with a team. Of course, we learn to alone, right? I mean, whenever you are writing code, probably you'll be doing it at your home. But working in team is something which is which where actually hackathons really shines, like working together as a team, and you get a lot of experience, I would say, which can help you in future as well. And everyone has their own advantages, right? So probably in, let's say, if you participate in hackathon, as I said, open source is not about code, and hackathons are also not about code sometimes. So you can actually present some best ideas, and let's say there are four people who are doing like they have interest in four different areas. Someone writing tests, someone writing code, someone actually completing slides, documentation. Someone is good in presentation. So those are the things which actually hackathons teach you, and it probably this is one of the best way to understand what you want to do in future. Because once you work as a team, of course, you will see okay, what is my area of expertise or what is my strong point, and then you can work on it, right? So
thank you, sir. Sir, I'm sure all of us are fascinated by your Google Developer Expert tag. So, can you share your journey about being a from being a Google Developer Expert?
yeah, I mean, so first, a lot of students do reach out to me how to become a Google Developer Expert. So let me just tell you one thing. I mean, Google Developer Expert, GitHub Star, all these programs are for working professionals, and it the what Google Developer Expert or GitHub Star program looks into you is someone who is contributing to the community, someone who is like teaching the community, and that's what they look into. So in so let's say if you want to become a GD in future, you have to pick up some technology. It's as it says Google Developers Expert. So of course you have to pick some Google technology. There is a web as well, so you can become a GD for web, which has nothing to do with any particular technology, but it's focused on web. So you have to understand how browser works, how dev tools work, and those are the things which you need to understand for web. But apart from that, you can pick up any Google technology. Let's say Go. You can use machine learning. You can run TFS, like uh, TensorFlow, and then start contributing to it. Start writing blog posts. Start getting involved in the community. Start presenting. Start giving talks. Start building community. Discord, Slack, whatever the way you think, and you can become a Google developer expert in future as well.
That was really enlightening, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening us about the importance of open source. It was a pleasure having you here with us today.
Thank you. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.
We understand that media experience is everything. However, behind today's fast and visual rich websites and apps, is that automate what would normally be a massive media management headache. Hint is pleased to announce Cloudinary as a diamond sponsor. Cloudinary makes it simple for brands to deliver fast and flawless visual experiences by leveraging AI, automation, and advanced patent pending image and video processing capabilities. Visit their website cloudery.com for more information. So before we wrap up today's session, let's play a fun game. So on the screen, jumbled words, and you have to guess the correct words in the chat box.
Wow, we got really quick responses. We hope you enjoyed the session and wish you the best of luck in the future. We can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Best of luck and happy hacking.
And the winner is Hardik out of nowhere.
For the game.